Hey YouTubers, listen, I get a lot of people out there, a lot, asking me two things. How do you film in low light and get such sharp images? And how do you take shots in low light and get such sharp images? Well, it's very simple. I have this little tip, and today I'm going to show you what that tip is. So stay tuned. Yeah, so YouTubers, I did a review on the FZ2500, and I had a bit of sample footage in there and a bit of sample photos, and right away I got a lot of people saying, what the hell, how are you getting such sharp results out of the FZ2500, which is a 1-inch sensor? Well, it has less to do with the sensor and more to do with technique, and that's what I'm here to tell you about. Just a little technique I use that gets me to get my shot and get the impression that I need. I went into a show that I recently photographed, and I wanted to go into that show because it's a very good example. Now, you have a nightmarish situation. You have people moving quickly and you don't have a lot of light. So what do you have to do? You have to have yourself a bright lens. That is for sure. Your opening of your aperture is very high, so you're at 2.8. as you can see on this photo, the one I just picked, I'm almost at 2.8 all the time. The lens I use is the Canon EF 70-200 f2.8 USM lens, which is a joy because even open up it is super sharp. So that is one thing I will tell anybody who's shooting in low light conditions or any sort of show. You need a lens with a very wide opening. I'm locked at f2.8 all the time. I do get low depth of field, but I do work heavily on my focusing to make sure the item I want to get in focus is in focus. But now let's get to the trick that I use, and it's very simple. I will use this picture right here. Now this is a picture, this is the people at the circus school who just finished a show this year, and as you can see, everyone is relatively well lit. Obviously you can see that it's a tad dark. The best thing to do is to ignore the whole global situation in your metering and go for the spot that you want to concentrate on. If you use automatic metering, you will not get that. It will analyze the whole situation, see all this stuff dark in here and say, man, you have to open up big time, or you have to bring up your ISO. So you'll bring up ISO, you'll get a crappy grainy picture, and it won't be a lot of fun. But if you take and you put yourself in manual metering and you meter for the brightest part of your shot, you don't have to worry about what's less bright, because obviously it's a show, so the lighting has taken care of that. They have made it so that people can see with the human eye what's happening up on stage. If you meter for the brightest spot, everything else via shadows and highlights, because remember, any photo is not just light, it's the absence of light that defines that photo. So therefore, when your highlights are there, your shadows will be there and they will be well defined. You don't have to think about it. So all you have to think about is meter for the highlighted shot. Right here, his gray hair and his hat are perfect example. Meter for these areas. After that, don't even think of it. Don't even think of what needs to be done next. You will get a great shot. And for example, just to give you an example, this was a really dark scene, but if I'm not mistaken, if I look at the ISO, look at my ISO. It's at 400 because we're using LED lighting. I'm on auto white balance. I have no choice but to be on auto white balance in these shows because these days shows are mixed between LED lighting, which is very daylight, and yellow tungsten lighting. So by keeping on auto white balance, I don't have to change my white balance the whole time through the show. So I'm on auto white balance, f400, f2.8 and f1/125th of a second, which in shows for circus is relatively slow, but I did get my shot. And if we take this shot, take it out of here, let's put it just into Photoshop a second. Okay. I'm in RAW. That's another thing I would suggest to everybody. Make sure you shoot in RAW, because RAW is literally like going back in time. No matter where your shot is, you can actually play with exposure and not eat up what you're doing. Here, I'm going to push the contrast a bit, push the exposure, because I'm on an APS-C sensor, I'm going to sharpen a tad. I never go too nuts. I play with my S curve here sometimes to get some brightness out. Everything's there. And, you know, as Jason Lanier once said, you only have one chance to get it right. So try to get it best you can at the shot. I know that I'm playing around with it in RAW, but it was just to show you that I do have an image that's illuminated and pretty darn good. Intuitively, when you look at the readings on your camera, you say to yourself, man, this is going to be dark and nobody will be able to see it. But if you concentrate on that highlighted part right here and you play with that, you'll be able to get a shot. Everything else will come into play, because the lighting person for that show will definitely want to make sure that everyone is seen. So that's the only thing I wanted to tell you guys. I just wanted to show you that that exists and that that technique can be used to get a great photo, and you can get it sharp and at ISO 400. You can get a nice, sharp, less grainy shot. You don't have to go to 1600 and 2000 and 2500, even on a 1-inch sensor, people. You can stick down to 400, 600, 800. You can push all the way to 1200 if you like, but you don't have to go that much further. I hope you enjoyed this little tip. Follow me on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram for my high quality stuff. Check out Behance. If you like this video, don't forget to click the thumbs up at the bottom. If you want to keep in cahoots with what I do, subscribe. And don't forget, everybody, keep on making something from nothing.